are locked into the Cowbell Kingdom podcast, frontline coverage of the Sacramento Kings. Now, here are your hosts, Jonathan Santiago and James Ham.
Welcome to the Cowbell Kingdom podcast. I am James Ham. With me, as always, Mr. Jonathan Santiago, and we are joined by a very special guest. It's the dog days of summer for the NBA, and we've got a rookie on our hands that really took the Summer League by storm, Mr. Eric Moreland. Eric, how are you?
I'm good. Just got back from running some errands and just kicking back right now and can't complain and just happy to be out here in Sacramento.
You know, let's start there. You're out in Sacramento, but it sounds like you and a whole bunch of your teammates are already here in Sacramento working out. How is that going? Who's here? What's going on? How are you guys sort of working through training? And is it lifting? Is it shooting? What are you guys doing right now?
There's like probably 8 players here right now. Of course, Nick Stauskas, Darren Collison, Ray McCollum, big fella Sim Bullard, Deontay Burden, David Ware, who else? That's pretty much who's here right now, and we're working out in the mornings, and we go twice a day, and then we are lifting either before or after the first practice, and we're just getting it and trying to get a early jump start. And it's good having Darren here already getting to work, and Ray and having point guards getting to work, and people just getting ready ahead of time before training camp just to be well prepared.
Now, Eric, with, the guys back in town, you mentioned there Nick and Darren Collison, a couple other guys as well. I mean, are the coaches kind of around to give you guys feedback, or is it kind of just you guys doing things on your own?
No, we're actually, it's scripted, and we come in there and, they have a plan for us. We stretch, we get to work and shell drill defense. Obviously this year we're trying to be more of a defensive-minded team, so we're starting off early and we're going twice a day, and it's been fun so far. I've loved being up here. I love working, and it's like I said, that's really good that Darren's already up here, and that's really important to us that he's here already.
Eric, this was it's kind of a whirlwind summer for you. I mean, you start out, you don't get drafted, which is got to be a huge bummer, but then you find a niche in Sacramento and you really take off during Summer League. What has the experience been like to this date, sort of, going from a guy with the big letdown to all of a sudden you got a 3-year contract and you remember the Sacramento Kings?
I wouldn't say it's a big letdown. I mean, a couple teams called before the draft and asked if I wanted to, either do a draft and stash and, go overseas for a year. But I really didn't want to do that. And I told them that, I really didn't want to do that. And, after the draft, Sacramento called and, I thought it was a perfect opportunity on how they explained it, and it ended up working out perfectly. When I got my opportunity to get in the game and, in the Summer League, I just, played my heart out like I always do. So, it worked out perfectly, and, it doesn't stop there. I'm not getting complacent, and I'm up here ready to work, ready to get the season started. I want big things to happen this year, too, just like, the other players and the coaching staff. So, I mean, we're up here working, and we're ready to do some things this year, so it's exciting.
Eric, where did the relationship with the Kings begin? You were part of, one of the pre-draft workouts here in Sacramento before the draft, but, when did you kind of get word originally that the Kings had interest in you?
Right after I had a workout with them. That was like my 3rd workout, during the pre-draft process, and I had a workout with them, and, the assistant GM came up to me and told me, really, really interested. They didn't have a 2nd-round pick, but, they'll definitely be in contact and keeping up with my agent and stuff like that. And, that was really good to hear. And so they had been talking to my agents and stuff like that. And, after the draft, they called right away. And, from then on, that's when I came out there for Summer League. I chose I had a couple teams to go to, but I thought Sacramento would have been the perfect place to go. So I didn't do the whole Miami Heat and Memphis Grizzlies workout in Orlando. I just wanted to go straight to Vegas and start mini camp there, and then DeMarcus came up there, which was great. Rudy Gay came up there, which was great. So, I thought it worked out really well, and that's just all glory to God for that, because it could have went, and it could have went worse. It could have been bad, So I'm just happy to see everything worked out, and like I said, I'm just up here ready to work and keep getting better. Just keep progressing, get stronger, just learn the game more, learn this pro offense, learn this pro terminology, just everything. I'm just happy to be here and ready to get to work, like I keep saying.
Well, what made Sacramento the right place for you? What appealed about this particular situation over, the other teams that you had just mentioned?
Well, a couple of things. When they called after the draft, they said that they had 5 returning players already, and that I probably wouldn't be starting, but playing time wouldn't be a factor, and I figured in my head that if I could be cohesive with the team and we could win, win the whole thing, I thought that would be good. I've never been on a winning team before, so. I thought that was really good. The 5 returning players that came, and if I could just be cohesive with them and we won, I thought that would be a good situation. And the fans were just they were just so supportive and so great and appreciative of my hard work. And I don't try to do too many things out of character, but I try to work hard and do the little things for the team. And the fans really, really appreciated it, and I saw that. And I thought that was just great. So I didn't want to do training camp with anybody else or go in on the team. I thought Sacramento was just awesome. So now I'm out here and it's exciting.
Eric, you're coming into this season as an undrafted rookie. You're going to have to fight for your minutes. You might spend some time in Reno. What is it that the Kings are telling you right now about how this process is going to go for you through training camp and into the regular season?
Well, yeah, there is. It's not going to be easy to just jump right in and get minutes and stuff like that. But I'm up here working, and when I talked to Pete, they said they'd be treating me like I was a second round pick. So he could see me carving out the minutes and then hopefully playing along DeMarcus. So I'm just taking it day by day and trying to get better, and then I feel like. With the way that I play, then I can definitely do that. So I'm not really focused on that right now. I feel like it'll all take care of itself and they'll see. So I'm not stressing that right now, but I think it'll all work out. I think everything will be fine. And there's some other forwards in my position, but it's a collective thing. We're all trying to just win. So the coaching staff is a great coaching staff. I love the coaching staff. So I'm sure. They'll figure it out, and we'll go from there.
You're coming into this rookie season, and you do have some established players at your position. You got Jason Thompson, you got Reggie Evans. I mean, you've got plenty of guys there that you can not only compete with, but also learn from. And I mean, you hear just like everybody else. I mean, you're raw offensively. You've got a huge defensive upside and a big motor. How do you describe yourself as a player? How do you tell people that this is kind of the player I look like, or this is how I go about my business on the court?
Well, I mean, I feel like my motor shows for myself. I feel like I'm all over the place, especially with my athleticism and length. But to describe myself as a player, I feel like, kind of along the lines of Kenneth Reed and just a really high active player, which helps a team win. And you can't teach that. So, I would try to describe myself as that. And, coming into Summer League, they specifically needed a shot blocker and a rebounder. And I'm thinking that's what I can do, just naturally. So, if I lock in on that, then everything should be fine. But so I feel like that wasn't my place to take all those shots and stuff. But y'all haven't really got to see my offensive game. But I think y'all really be surprised. But, that'll come down the line because you got DeMarcus, you got Rudy. I'm come here to to be all over the place and defend and rebound and get and try to be a defensive anchor on this team. So that's my job, and that's first and foremost, and then that's how you could describe my game, and then I'll let y'all see offensively for yourselves. But there's a lot of things to work on, and just like everybody else. But everything will be fine, and I'm a hard worker, and I'm always in the gym. So I just you just trust your work. Honestly, that's just how I think about it. So if you're working on it, then you just have to trust your work.
We are talking to Eric Moreland of the Sacramento Kings here on the Cowbell Kingdom podcast. Eric, so since Summer League ended, you had a great run there. You guys won the championship. You really became a fan favorite there. Since Summer League concluded, what have you been specifically working on in preparation for your first NBA season?
After Summer League, I went to Houston, and I was going to go there for 2 weeks and then go to Florida, but I had the resources that I needed in Houston, so I just stayed out in Houston. And I was just working. I was really, really focusing on my body, that's going to be really important down the line, and you're going to be losing weight during the season. And, going against these bigger guys, you're going to have a little bit of base on you. So I've just been working on my body and trying to sustain a certain weight and, just getting stronger. That's been really the focus. But, when I'm with trainers and stuff, we do offensive things and, just helping me learn sets and playing out of situations. And it's a lot of situationals. And, I learned a couple sets that out of Summer League that we were running at Summer League. So, some of those things I implemented into my workout. So, I've just been, working. Honestly, I work on everything. That's how you become the best you can be, is by working on everything. So, I would say, strength-wise, just keep getting stronger. And on the court, I've just been, working just like, any other time, just working on your game.
Excellent. Well, Eric, we don't want to keep you all day. You've already kind of got introduced to what the Sacramento Kings fans are like. I'm sure you picked up a ton of Twitter followers. They're rampant. They're crazy. They're all over the place. But they don't know you yet. So, number one, do you have a nickname? And number two, what is it that you want fans to know about you sort of personally that you're willing to share? You don't have to get too personal, but what is it that you're like off the court that you'd like to share with the fans?
I'm a silly kid, but when it comes down to business, it's time for business. I'm real open with a lot of people, and I'm not too big time for anybody, and I never will be. And I'm always gonna stay a humble kid, and no matter how far I make it. So, these fans, I love them. They're so supportive. They're really so supportive, and they care about the team. They just want the team to do good, and for the team to go to only have like 20-something wins, 28 wins last year, and the fan base was still like that, and people were still coming to the game. That's loyalty, and that's what a real fan is. So I'm really happy to play for these fans and give them all I got. That's honestly.
All right. Well, hey, Sacramento Kings fans are definitely going to embrace you, especially that high motor and the shot blocking ability. Eric Moreland, thank you so much for joining us here on the Cowbell Kingdom podcast. I'm sure we'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. I'll feed off the fans, too, and give them what I got. And thanks for having me, and looking forward to a great season. Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks again to Eric Moreland. Yeah, James, what a great interview. I like Eric. He's a wonderful guy to talk to. The first time that I got an opportunity to talk to him at Summer League and kind of get to know him a little bit there. Just a really outgoing guy, gracious with his time, and really thoughtful with the answers that he has for reporters whenever they ask him questions. And, to go along with that, he's a good basketball player. He's definitely raw. He's got some potential, but he fills a need for what this team is looking for, and that's a rebounding, shot-blocking big man, as he said. Yeah,
John, what I like that he talked about was that Pete D'Alessandro told him, look, we didn't have a second round pick, and so we're looking at you as our second round pick. You're going to get the opportunity that second round picks get, and the Sacramento Kings have actually been very good for second round picks. I mean, this is a place that if you are a second round pick, you want to go to, because there's a good chance you're going to make the team. I mean, Tyler Honeycutt sticks around for a year. You can Hassan Whiteside. You can keep going back. I mean, John Brockman. You look last year, Ray McCallum. Isaiah Thomas. This team is always mined for talent in the second round, and also given an opportunity to those players. And so it's not surprising that he chose Sacramento. I do know that they are very aggressive after him. He did have other teams looking at him. I think the Knicks were looking at him here after Summer League as a potential, free agent signee. And he chose the Kings. He's going to be in a crowded front line. But at the end of the day, he brings something that no other King does, and that is a shot blocking ability. And he's also a very, very efficient rebounder and a high energy player. He plays solid defense besides being a shot blocker. So he's someone that you should be intrigued about and excited about, but also, make sure you remember that he is an undrafted free agent and that he's going to need some time to develop.
Yeah, he's a young player. He's not a guy who, obviously there are always guys who can kind of be outliers, so to speak. But for the most part, not every guy is going to come in and just, set the world on fire. And I wouldn't want to put those type of expectations on Eric Moreland. But he's a good player. And I think he could be, the Kings did it last year with Trent Lockett. They signed him to their Reno squad, and he spent some time out there. But I think Eric Moreland is a player who definitely has, a little more upside in terms of development than a Trent Lockett. And if you have him around and he winds up with your D-League squad with the Reno Bighorns, you can monitor his development pretty closely and kind of have him tied to the franchise, much like they had Trent Lockett last year, as I mentioned. So he's not a bad pickup, depending on whatever happens with him, this upcoming season. It is going to be tough because they've got a lot of guys in that front court who are, locked into deals. I mean, you have Carl Landry locked into a guaranteed contract. You have Jason Thompson locked into a guaranteed contract. Reggie Evans as well. So he's going to have to battle with those guys. And I think at the same time, he can learn from them. A guy like Reggie Evans, I think, is somebody, that DeMarcus Cousins is obviously benefiting from having around. And I think Eric Moreland will benefit from being around Reggie during training camp and during the preseason session. But interesting stuff, man. Interesting to hear how many guys are already out here in Sacramento. We had learned that training camp is going to be starting a little bit early because of the international preseason schedule. So to have guys like Eric and Nick Stauskas and Sim Bular, and as well as Darren Collison, who is now one of the leaders of this team, already here preparing for the season, that's good.
And while your stars are busy representing their country in Spain, so you got two guys out there, and then most of the team is here. Yeah, I mean, it's very, very encouraging. I think that we're going to see like a really good growth out of Moreland in this first year. I actually think that the Kings will do everything they can to keep him around the team because, number one, they would like to steal a few minutes, but also you talked about Reggie Evans, and I really think that Reggie Evans is on the final year of his deal. He can be a very similar player to Reggie Evans, just with better size and length and shot blocking ability. Reggie Evans has made his way through the NBA. He's made tons of money as sort of a junkyard dog, and that is what Eric Moreland needs. He needs to see how that guy, because see, these energy guys, they're cool for like the first week or two of the season, and then their energy fades when they start running out of gas. So what you need is for him to learn from someone like Reggie Evans is like, look, dude, you have to bring your lunch pail and your hard hat every single day, whether it's practice or whether it's a game or just, shoot around, whatever it is, you have to bring it every single day, or you're not going to last in this league. And I think it's really imperative that the Kings give him as much time with the parent club, or especially early on, as they can. And I know they did that last year with Ray McCallum before they sent him up for some, short stints in Reno. And I wouldn't doubt that they do the same thing here with Eric Moreland.
Now, I know both you and I aren't really very high on what the Sacramento Kings may do this season with the roster as it is currently constructed, but I will say this. I think this is going to be the most prepared Sacramento Kings team in recent memory. I mean, like you mentioned, you got Rudy Gay and DeMarcus Cousins playing in the FIBA World Cup, and that ends on September 14th. They're going to basically have a 2-week break, and then training camp starts. So they will be, arguably in the best shape maybe of their careers. I think you can say that for sure about DeMarcus, that he will come into camp in the best shape of his career.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
And then you'll have all these guys already who've been working out in the summer and spending time already together this summer. The Ben McLemores and Ray McCallums, Nick Stauskas, Darren Collisons, these guys spending time together before the season. And that's what Michael Malone has wanted. That's what Pete D'Alessandro has wanted. And that's how you start to build continuity and build a culture. So I think for the first time in a very long time, the Sacramento Kings will come into the season with some continuity. Now, whether that results in a better record, that remains to be seen, just because, this roster as it's currently constructed still has flaws, but they've got guys who are going to be playing major roles this season, already preparing and going to be ready for this upcoming season.
Yeah, John, I don't think, I'm watching all of these World Cup games, and I just watching the physical, what DeMarcus Cousins looks like today versus what he looked like 4 years ago when he was a rookie and I first started covering this team. It's remarkable how he has slowly transformed his body to where he is now. He's sprinting up and down the court. He looks so good for Team USA, and he's getting rave reviews. I mean, realistically, the guard play has been it's been marginal. It's been good in some games, but for the most part, it's been Fareed and Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins anchoring this team. And I mean, I think everyone is shocked to see it that way, especially with the youth of that threesome. But they really seem to be the reason why the U.S. keeps plugging away and destroying every team they go up against.
Yeah, because when the guards are clanking shots from three-point land, somebody's going to have to rebound the ball. And Fareed and Anthony Davis and DeMarcus are cleaning up the boards. So, yeah, it is a little surprising because everybody, coming into Las Vegas, the talk was, wow, they've got so much depth at guard. I mean, they've got, guys who aren't even on the roster, Bradley Beal, John Wall, Derrick Rose, obviously on the roster, Kyrie Irving, Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, James Harden. So much depth at guard, but the guards, have left a little bit to be desired here so far in the World Cup, and the bigs have really carried them. And I think that's good because to a certain extent, because when it boils down to it, again, we're looking at a Spain-USA matchup here in the gold medal game. That's inevitable, barring a complete stunner of an upset in the knockout rounds. So, it's going to be critical that Anthony Davis and Kenneth Fareed and DeMarcus are ready for their matchup against Marc Gasol, Pau Gasol, and Serge Ibaka of Spain. But, when I look at this FIBA World Cup roster, clearly to me, when I watch them play, the only way that they're going to be successful right now, and I just don't see them having enough time to really get into a rhythm in their half-court offense, is if they play really good defense, force turnovers, and get in the open court. Because when they operate in the half-court set, there's too much one-on-one isolation. There's too much hero ball. It doesn't work. And they are at their best when they are playing defense. They're forcing turnovers, and they're running up and down the floor. And that's why I don't necessarily see this as an automatic victory in this tournament for them, a gold medal victory for them, because against a team like Spain that has played with each other for so long and has great team chemistry and can execute in the half-court set very well as they do, I mean, it's going to be tough for them to force turnovers and force Spain into sloppy play in order for them to score.
Yeah, and Spain has so many guards. I mean, that's the one thing that everyone talks about is like Ricky Rubio is like their fifth best guard, sixth best guard. I mean, you got guys who have, Calderon and Rudy Fernandez. You got all these guys who have played in the NBA for years and years, and then just a vicious front line. But this is still a really good team. And you're right, they're going to win ugly. That's kind of the way it looks at this point, that this team is not going to be an incredible force that bowls over everybody or picks up like an 80-point win or something.
Yeah.
But they are still like considerably better than any other team in this tournament except for Spain. And then we'll see what happens. Again, that the tournament is in Spain against a really good Spanish team. It's going to be, that's where really this team will be tested. But I really haven't liked the guard play at all, John. I don't know if you've kind of felt that too, but like you talked about the isolation stuff. It's either isolation or it's like ridiculously bad quick shots.
Yeah.
How many times do I have to watch, not to call like two guys specifically out, but James Harden just dribble away the entire clock and like wave people off like, hey, I'm a superstar, get away.
And I'm going to jack up a ill-advised three. There have been a lot of bad shots, I think. They're not the shot selection has been bad by the guards.
Klay Thompson too.
Yeah.
Klay Thompson's shot selection has been horrible. As soon as he touches a ball, if he smells leather, he's shooting it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I've seen so far. And those are the two guys that I would call out. Besides that, I mean, I don't think Steph Curry's got enough shots. I think Kyrie Irving has been very solid. I think Derrick Rose has been a really good hustle player off the bench, which is really surprising to say. Like a former MVP who's coming off like two major injuries is the guy who's being a hustle guy. And then, dude, I don't know. Kenneth Faried's agent is just sitting back in his chair like doing the Johnny Manziel like money sign. I mean, that dude has made himself into a max money player during this tournament. He is such a force. It's incredible to watch him just fly all over the court.
Is he max though? Would you pay him max?
Somebody's paying him max.
I don't think I wouldn't pay him max, but I would definitely pay him more than what I thought he was worth before this tournament. Although, I mean, this is the ideal scenario for a guy like Kenneth Faried. I mean, if he's on a team of all-stars that need the ball to be effective, and he's just out there hustling and just cleaning up the glass and playing defense. I mean, this is the perfect team for Kenneth. If you could assemble a superstar all-star squad in the NBA, like an actual team of one of the 30, and he was just your starting power forward, I mean, this would be it. But
yeah,
when he goes back to Denver, it's going to be a little bit of a different story there because they're not going to be as talented as this USA team, and he's going to have to be. They may ask him to do more things than he's not really capable of, but he has been very impressive, and I think he could. We've talked about him in the past about whether or not he would look like a good fit next to DeMarcus Cousins, and there have been some guys that we feel might fit better next to DeMarcus, but I think those two would mesh really well together if somehow the Sacramento Kings could muster up some sort of trade deal with the Denver Nuggets, because there's ties and relationships there with Pete D'Alessandro and the Denver Nuggets, and if they could get their hands on Kenneth Faried, I'm sure they would, but are they able to? Probably not.
Yeah, and I do know that last summer that Faried wanted max money. He wanted a max money extension this year, and he didn't get it, and he's not going to get it from Denver. That's just not something that the ownership group in Denver wants to do. But if you kind of look at the way the Denver Nuggets team is built, while the players aren't as good as the team that he's playing with right now, they do kind of have similar player types if you go position by position. Gallinari at the wing and JaVale McGee shot blocking, lean dude flying all over the court at the center position. Your speedster at the one, you got a Flalo at the two. I mean, really, I think Fareed fits just about anywhere. And I mean, again, the Kings would love to have Fareed. I don't think that's going to happen, but the Kings have a ton of cap space next summer, and they're going to throw it at somebody. And
he might be the dude.
Hey, Denver is going to have to make a decision. Somebody is going to throw, close to max money or max money. I mean, look, if Chandler Parsons and Gordon Hayward got max money, then why not Kenneth Faried? I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. The guy just does so much, and he brings so much energy. He changes the whole feel of the game when he's in there. All it takes is one, just rip the ball out of somebody's hands and fly through fly to the rack for a huge dunk. They mentioned on the while we're watching the game, the commentary was that he goes at the ball for rebounds like he's passing it to himself off the backboard. Yeah, and that makes it makes a lot of sense because you watch him just fly in like he knew where it was going, because almost like he flipped it off the glass and was just going up for a crazy dunk. And it's not that. It's him going in really hard and just knowing that if he flies up, he's comfortable in the air, and the ball is going to be somewhere where you can grab it and stuff at home. So yeah, he's been impressive.
Yeah, he's definitely been impressive. Anthony Davis,
impressive.
He looks like he's poised to make the leap, possibly being the third best player in the NBA this year. Maybe even better. I don't know. It's possible. Maybe not.
Now, I don't know if he's the third best player in the NBA, but he's taken a leap into superstar status, I believe.
He's just really good. that's
he is, and he's on a good team too, a team with a ton of talent. Yeah. He's gonna go home to a team with Ashik and Ryan Anderson, and then a stable of guards, and hey, there's some good teams. Yeah, the West isn't going to be easy, and the two teams we're talking about, I mean, they're not even playoff teams last year. I mean, these are teams that are up and coming, just like a lot of people hope that the Kings are up and coming, and it's going to be tough because a lot of these players on this team are on bad teams right now. I mean, even Irving's playing huge minutes, and he's on a Cavs team that the last couple of years have just been absolutely atrocious. And a lot of the players on it, you can go through each of these players, and a lot of them are on teams like that. So this is a way for them to not just increase their own brand and their own marketability out in the world status, but it's also a chance for them to grow as leaders, to bring something back to their teams and to show improvement. And that's why I think everyone should be really happy and excited that DeMarcus Cousins and Rudy Gay got this opportunity.
All right, to wrap things up here, let's touch on a couple. Well, let's touch on maybe one topic, maybe another, but more than likely just one. News breaking today that Kevin Nagel, one of the Sacramento Kings minority owners, has bought the Republic FC, the minor league soccer team here in Sacramento, and there's been a lot of talks, a lot of news surrounding the Republic FC in terms of possibly bringing MLS here to Sacramento, and Vivek wanting to be involved in that. And now he's got one of his partners in the Sacramento Kings who now owns the minor league soccer team. So there's definitely some things going on here. I wouldn't
things are brewing.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised in the future to see a lot of synergy between the Sacramento Kings and whatever, if they do get a major league soccer team here, or, just the minor league soccer team right now, a lot of synergy in marketing between both of those franchises because it's a similar demographic there. But big news for the city of Sacramento. I mean, it's crazy, right? Go back 4 years ago and can't even get an arena done. And now you're getting an arena built. The demolition is happening in the downtown plaza, and then now you might also get a soccer stadium built too in the rail yards.
And they're trying to put this in the rail yards. They're trying to have the catalyst project for the rail yards. And everything I hear is that when MLS comes out later this month to sort of vet the city of Sacramento, they will have everything in place. They will have an arena concept ready to roll. They have a new ownership group that's got huge money behind it, and they've got the fan base. And
what does that sound like? That blueprint sounds very familiar.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I think maybe David Stern may have told MLS, this is what you need to tell the city of Sacramento.
Yeah.
They need A new arena, an ownership group.
Yeah.
Yeah, and corporate backing. And also there's a huge deal with MLS too, because MLS typically has a television deal. And so, we've got Comcast Sports Net California that could easily fit in an MLS team like they do down in the Bay Area with Earthquakes into their programming. So I think this fits perfect. The city of Sacramento is hungry for this. But who knows how fast it can go. I mean, that's kind of been the one downer with MLS, is that their expansion is pretty far off in the distance, and Sacramento wants to expedite the process, and I don't know how quickly that can be done.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's definitely a lot of passion and fervor here for, not only the Sacramento Kings in basketball, but for soccer as well. We've talked about in the past how we've been out to a couple Republic games here in Sacramento, and they're a blast to attend as a fan, as opposed to media for a change, and it's a good experience. So if they get that done, kudos to them. So
yeah, and I'm a bona fide soccer dad, man.
Yeah, right.
I am doing soccer 5 days
minivan.
a week. Yeah, it's like minivan central up here.
Minivan ham.
Yeah, I am all over soccer practice, 4 days a week and double games every Saturday. I mean, it's good. It's a good sport, and it's good that it's gaining some traction here. I'm glad it's not the replacement for the Sacramento Kings. I'm glad it is an added thing that will work with the Sacramento Kings, and that's a good thing.
All right, let's thank Eric Moreland for joining us here on this edition of the Cowbell Kingdom podcast. Thank you for taking the time with us. We appreciate that. And tune in next week, where we will be back with another episode, another interview, and more on the Cowbell Kingdom podcast next week. So subscribe to us on iTunes. Throw us a review there if you can, whenever you have the chance. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. You guys know the drill by now. So for James Ham, I'm Jonathan Santiago. You have been listening to the Cowbell Kingdom podcast.